You ever get into some of those old 80s and 90s anime OVAs? A lot of them are pretty cool. Sick ass art and animation, cool stories, lots of action, no filler, questionable dubs. Kinda love that stuff. Did you know there was a 2-episode Sonic the Hedgehog OVA in 1996? And did you know it got brought to the West in 1999 as a movie? It was dubbed and released by ADV to coincide with the US release of Sonic Adventure. By this time, the US Sonic cartoons had been cancelled, so it was pretty exciting to get an anime. And this movie really gets the vibes right. Feels like a lot of love went into making it, from the visuals, to the soundtrack, to the way things are animated, to the characters' personalities. Sonic's got his attitude and Tails gives off little brother vibes. Robotnik's personality is a little overconfident and kinda goofy, which matches what you'd expect from the games, and I think it's cool that Knuckles has a slightly more serious attitude, but still comes off as a friend rather than a rival. Plus, the characters created specifically for this story fit pretty well. Especially the owl guy. I wish he got more screen time. Look at him. Looking all cool. Speaking of looking cool, I absolutely love the visual style. It's got that 90s anime look and captures the feel of the games. There's so much cool imagery here. It manages to be dark and colorful at the same time. Look at the detail on the floating island that Sonic and Tails are living on. Oh yeah, it's set on Planet Freedom, and everyone lives on these floating islands that they call the Land of the Sky because the actual surface of the planet seems to have been destroyed. At one point, they wander through the ruins of New York City and refer to the buildings and skyscrapers as ancient relics. Seems that they live on Earth in some kind of post-apocalyptic future. Kinda makes me wonder what happened. I wonder if Saturn has anything to do with it. Oh well, who cares? It's kinda neat. Anyway, it's not really explained, but it doesn't really need to be. It adds a fun, mysterious vibe to it all. It makes for a really cool setting. Like during the Metal Robotnik fight, which is really cool. Just look at some of this imagery. It manages to be fun and cartoony while also being dark and moody. Plus, you get this kind of imagery throughout the entire movie. Like when Hyper Metal Sonic is revealed, or during the fight scene on the ice continent. There's also a decent amount of humor from basically every character. I particularly like the goofiness of Robotnik, but Sonic giving attitude is pretty fun too.
The soundtrack is cool. Kinda gives me Sonic CD vibes.
In fact, the entire movie kinda gives me that vibe.
From the imagery and soundtrack to just some of the action scenes. It almost feels like it's an extended version of the anime cutscenes from the game.
The backgrounds definitely have the same feeling, and they even use the same version of Metal Sonic, who looks really cool. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a lot of influence from Sonic CD when working on this, to be honest. Though it for sure has a very different story. Basically, the plot revolves around Robotnik trying to create a robot that is essentially Sonic. So he builds Metal Sonic but needs Sonic's data in order to bring him to life, and make sure that it can actually stand against him. Basically an exact copy of Sonic's mind, but like, evil. Which might sound a bit cliche, but in this case, I love it. Now, the one thing I'd say this movie suffers from is its length. As I said before, it was originally a 2-part OVA, but I just feel like it would have been better if it was 3 parts. I feel like it needs just a little bit more time to flesh out certain ideas, but in all honesty, I still absolutely love it. It gets the vibes down perfect, it never really slows down or stops moving. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted to see in an animated Sonic adventure. Plus, if you really want more to the Metal Sonic story, there are the old Archie comics that do quite a bit with the idea. There's even a small mini-series called the Death Egg Saga that messes around with Silver Sonic from the Game Gear games. Not to mention the IDW comics that really do a lot with Metal Sonic. Unfortunately, ADV isn't around anymore, and so this movie is out of print and not really available on any streaming platforms, but I'd recommend catching it in any way that you can, especially if you're a fan of classic Sonic or old school anime. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what your memories of this movie are. Till next time.